Hello and welcome to Mind Your Own Retirement, a podcast of YourLifeChoices.com.au, simplifying retirement. My name's John Deeks, but that's not important. Kaye Fallick is, and she's the publisher of Your Life Choices. A big hello to you, Kaye.
Hello, John. I went to a Rotary dinner last night with David, and it just reminded me of how much Rotary gives to the community. This is not an ad, it's an observation. When I listen to people who are helping school kids, they're helping the homeless, they're helping bring international students here and putting them up in their homes and driving them around. And I just thought, wow, for people who are retired, who maybe feel they could do with another outlet or social
the
connection.
Kawaians, the Rotary, as you say, even getting together with the Probus clubs. I do a lot of talks for Probus clubs, as you know.
Yep.
And it's just wonderful because there's that stimulation, and you look out in the audience and you think, wow, what a sea of experience. If you could just bottle all of that.
Yep. And they're good people. And the thing is that they have a rule that new members cannot be anything but overwhelmed with love. So you're very much pulled into the group.
That's fantastic.
It's special.
So if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, I'd like to join, there are so many wonderful things you can join, male or female, whether it be the men's shed, whatever. There's heaps of organisations.
We might put some links up on the podcast page.
What a good idea.
To spark some ideas.
You Mind Your Own Retirement is our podcast from YourLifeChoices.com.au. We're going to be talking money, health and travel again today. What have we got coming up after this little break?
Well, we've got a treat, John, because Ben Hocking, our digital editor, is also, for my money, the number one Centrelink
He's
expert.
the Centrelink guru.
He's the guy. He answers the questions.
All right, let's have a chat to Ben on Mind Your Own Retirement. And a very big hello to Ben Hocking, the Centrelink guru and other things, including digital editor for Your Life Choices. Hello, Ben.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me on.
Great pleasure. Great to have you here. And the boss is about to ask you a question.
Well, Ben, I've just set you up as the number one expert in the world, if not Australia. So what we're interested in, because you do seem to spend a massive amount of time answering Centrelink questions, can you share with us the top three, the three you answer the most? What are they, and what are the short answers?
Sure. I'll go through the questions and then I'll come back and answer them. So how long does it take? What do I do about overseas travel? How long can I stay overseas? And can I get my pension while I'm living overseas? Are probably the three questions we just constantly get. I've had a number of them today already. So how long it can take to get your pension is a bit like how long is a piece of string. It really depends on how hard it is for your particular request to be processed. But we have had some cases where people have waited up to 8 months to have their pension approved, which is not great. And it can just take a couple of weeks. The best advice that I can give is you can apply for the pension 13 weeks before you're eligible. So that I would apply 13 weeks before you're due, and I would fill out all of your information in advance, so it's all sitting there. If you've got a MyGov account, you can sort of plug it in as you go.
Is it like a university exam, or should you get help, and if so, who can help?
You can get help, and there are people that provide assistance with that, and the Centrelink financial services officers can also help if you have problems. I'd say it's more time-consuming than difficult, but you do need to set aside a decent amount of time to go through the process. And we also, on our site, we offer up a pension checker. People can go through that process as well, which will streamline the process for them.
So that's on Your Life Choices website?
That's a product people can buy.
Product that we sell. It's $29.95, and it probably would save people, guessing 2 to 3 hours of work because the pension checker does the sums for the individual. It's a handy tool also because people who are approaching retirement can run the sums, and then if their situation changes or they gift some money or something like that, they can run the sums again before they commit to filling in the application.
Yes, that's absolutely right. So, my advice is to apply as early as you can, which is that 13 weeks before you're available, and then you should be right to go by the time you become eligible. And if you do those eligibility tests yourself through using a pension checker, you'll save a lot of time because you'll know whether you're likely to be approved or not for when you get your pension, and whether yours is a simple case and whether you can expect it to be approved as early as possible.
Ben, quick question on people who it seems to be dragging, it's taking 6 months, 7 months or 8 months. Do they have any recourse?
No, but you can have applied. It's usually backdated.
Yes.
Different situations apply, and there's various situations, but it will usually be backdated if there's no particular reason why it's been held up. It will usually, if there is paperwork missing when you've filled it out, then you might not have recourse to get it backdated because it's on you to fill everything out properly and provide all of the information required.
Wow.
So that's why you want to make sure that you do it right, because they might just not approve it because you haven't provided enough information, which we have seen happen to some
Can our
people.
members can people claim the age pension if they're living overseas, Ben?
Now, this is a great one to discuss on radio, and it's sometimes hard to get across because there is a lot of confusion. So if you're an Australian resident now and you have been for the 2 years before you tried to claim the age pension, your pension is then what we call portable, and you can go overseas and claim the age pension. And you'll be paid at a different rate. You'll get your payment will be based on your working life residence in Australia. So that's between the ages of from when you're 15 to 65. It's roughly
Right.
Those are roughly the ages off the top of my head. So if you've lived in Australia for the 35 years in that period, then you get the full 35-year payment. And if you have lived there for less than that, you get your percentage based on that. So if you've lived in Australia for 17 years of your working life, then you'll get 17/35.
Which is about half of a pension. So, Ben, what about the entitlements that are attached to the age pension? Do you get them overseas as well?
No, you don't. You don't get those. You just get the basic rate of age pension. You don't get any of the supplements or the energy supplements. You don't get those while you're living overseas.
So people should factor that in.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And what about travel, when people travel overseas?
Come to travel in a minute. I just want to finish off the one point. So that was if you're an Australian resident before you apply for the age pension in the 2 years. But if you want to apply when you are living overseas and you've been living overseas before you apply, then you can't get the age pension overseas. There are ways, there are social security agreements with certain countries, but not all countries, and you have to apply through the country where you're currently a resident. So that rules you out. If you're trying to apply for the Australian pension, though, from overseas, then you can't do it. And if you return to Australia to claim the age pension, you have to stay in Australia for 2 years before your pension becomes portable, and then you can go back overseas for as long as you want once you've lived in Australia for 2 years.
Ben Hocking is the voice you're hearing, Your Life Choices digital editor, but also the Centrelink guru. You're very lucky to have this man on staff.
He knows a lot.
He does know a lot. And if our listeners want to know more, what should they do, Ben?
Log on to the website, YourLifeChoices.com.au. We have a frequently asked section under the age pension section of the site, so a lot of these questions are answered there. That's the first port of call. If your question's not answered there, then you can send an email to newsletters at yourlifechoices.com.au, and we'll attempt to answer it or find out someone from Centrelink who can answer that question and get back to you with a response as soon as we can.
Well, that's a lot of information to take in, Ben, so thank you for that. And as we know, you will faithfully answer all questions that come into the site, so stand back and be ready for a flood.
Yeah, sure thing.
Ben Hocking, Your Life Choices digital editor and Centrelink guru. He knows it all, so folks, go to yourlifechoices.com.au to find out more. Thanks for your time today, Ben. Coming up next, health insurance. Should you keep it? Should you have it? What's it all about? We're going to speak to the Communications Director from Consumers Health Forum Australia, Mark Metherell, right after this. Folks, I'd like to talk to you about Your Life Choices Pension Checker. Now, this is an easy-to-use financial tool that allows you to calculate exactly how much you should be receiving in fortnightly pension payments and supplements. It's very well priced at just $29.95 per year. Visit pensionchecker.com.au and make today the day you take control of your income with Your Life Choices Pension Checker. This is Mind Your Own Retirement podcast of YourLifeChoices.com.au. We're here, of course, with the publisher of said magazine, Kaye and me, John Deeks, and life insurance, health insurance, so much insurance, but health insurance is so crucial, is it not, Kaye?
Well, it seems to be on the slide in terms of affordability, so we're really privileged to have Mark Metherell, who's Communications Director of the Consumers Health Forum of Australia, here to make some sense of it, John.
What is your organisation all about, Mark?
Our organisation is the leading national organisation advocating for health consumers concerning national health policy, Medicare, the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, issues like the My Health record, things that involve the federal government. We're here in Canberra, try wherever we can to make sure the consumer perspective is heard and followed. We have about 200 members, most of them are the national health organisations like, say, Arthritis Australia, Asthma Australia, the Heart Foundation, etc. We have round tables. We put out recently, most appropriate right now for us, a survey report last year called Out of Pocket Pain, in which we drew on the responses of 1,200 respondents, which showed just how many people were hit, even with health insurance, or especially with health insurance, with high out-of-pocket costs.
So, Mark, just to jump to the now, we believe that your latest findings, you're very concerned about a fall in the uptake of health insurance. Is that correct?
Yes, we certainly are. While the latest fall hasn't been huge, it's been a continuing fall in memberships, particularly of young people, which means that the impact for older members is likely to grow in terms of premium costs, because you need a good spread of population ages to, if you like, even out the impact of health insurance use. We're now around 44% of Australians have health insurance, and an increasing majority of those are older Australians.
Is it because of the cost, or the kids don't think they're ever going to get sick and they don't need it?
Well, probably a combination of both, but more particularly these days, cost. I mean, health insurance premiums have gone up by 30% since 2011. Wages have gone up by 10%. And while many younger people, of course, have things like HECS, mortgages, wages aren't what they were. And, of course, for many, they're young, they're healthy, they wonder, well, why should I have it? And they are not joining and or dropping out.
So, Mark, for retirees, we know out of our members, 71% currently have private health insurance, and 76% of those people say, I'll do whatever I can to maintain it. But what can people on a fixed income do, really?
Well, there are strong arguments for why people, for their own reassurance, want to hold on to health insurance. They should remember, of course, that they benefit from the discounts for older Australians, which can make a significant reduction in their premium costs. The important thing for them is to shop around. Now, this is a very frustrating and not terribly pleasant task, but if they use the independent government-based website, privatehealth.gov, they can more easily perhaps pinpoint what sort of cover they need and at the best price. And you've got to remember now with the new tiers, the gold, silver, bronze, basic levels of health insurance, you can make your choice perhaps a bit easier in working out what sorts of cover you need. So it's really, you can't get around needing to shop around. Also, if you have chronic illness, it's worth trying to keep an eye out for, if you're going to have out-of-pocket costs, for specialists whose fees may be lower, or in some relatively rare cases where specialists will bulk bill. So look, it really is a matter of shopping around. Health insurance is an expensive outlay, and you're going to get your best result by shopping around both with health funds, and if you're having ongoing treatment, trying to identify those specialists, those doctors that are whose charges are reasonable.
Mark, we'll get some links up very shortly, and Kaye will give out those details. But one last question. I'm sure there's lots of things you'd like to see the government do. What is number one on the Consumer Health Forum of Australia's wish list?
Look, the number one issue does seem to be out-of-pocket costs. We would like to see more done to ensure, to avoid people facing these very big out-of-pocket costs when they see a specialist, and for their hospitals in some cases. One suggestion could be that the government introduces some sort of incentives for specialists to bulk bill by offering a higher rebate, but a rebate conditional on that they do bulk bill. One of the problems with the government is if they put up the Medicare rebates, many doctors may just say, yeah, right, okay, and then still put up their gap even higher.
Thank you so much, Mark, for giving us your time today on Your Life Choices, Mind Your Own Retirement. And Kaye, we've got some links we can go to on this?
Yeah, look, I want to thank Mark as well, because I think that was one of the best explanations I've heard of what's really tricky territory.
Very tricky, yeah.
So super helpful. So, Mark, we will talk to you off air to get the best links to the information you think retirees need on this topic, and they'll be on our podcast page.
Thank you, Kaye. Thank you, John.
Take care. Mark Metherell, the Communications Director, Consumers Health Forum of Australia. And do go to the YourLifeChoices.com.au website, and you'll find more information to link to how you might be able to best navigate the world of private health insurance. But coming up next, we're going travelling. Get your camera. You're going to need it, Kaye.
Woohoo! Here I go.
The investment world can be so complex, but here's the good news. Choose how your wealth is managed with Open Invest. Open Invest gives you direct access to a range of investment portfolios designed to deliver diversification, security, growth, and income through a simple online interface. You get a choice of leading investment management companies with lots of useful information and resources at no hidden costs. To get guided control of your wealth, visit openinvest.com.au.
You're listening to Mind Your Own Retirement with the publisher of Your Life Choices magazine, Kaye Fallick, and me, John Deeks. And we love going travelling. We like taking our camera. And who can think back to the time when we used to come back with all those reels and rolls of film and go to the chemist and get the 2-for-1 offer? Or do you want them on shiny paper? Do you want them on
remember
matte?
slide notes?
Going to... Oh, yeah. Oh, so hang on. And everyone's standing up with their head upside down. Oh, bring out the fondue.
And people would disappear from the back of the room.
I know, isn't it terrible? Alwyn Hansen is a photographer, expert and teacher. He's had 30 plus years of experience working with students from 9 to 99, including 10 years running photography courses at Michael's Media School in the CBD of Melbourne. He's a working photography teacher who can help you take great images with your camera, especially when it comes to learning how to use your camera betterer than you do now. Hello, Alwyn.
Hello.
Welcome to you, my friend, and thank you so much for giving up your time today on Mind Your Own Retirement. Do you take photos when you go on holidays with a camera or with your phone?
I use both. The smartphone I always think is great for keeping a constant diary of what I'm doing, the meals I eat, the places I see, and it's with me all the time. But I also carry my camera for photographing the really special moments. I think in years to come, if we look back on our photographs, we'll probably forget most of what we posted on the Facebook sites and the Instagram sites, and we'll look for what we printed and what we saw from our cameras at the time. And I think the combination of both works really well.
Okay, so I will confess now that Alwyn has taught me how to use a camera.
Aha.
And that's why I know he's good. And Alwyn, what would be a reasonable camera for, I'm going to say, between $300 and $700. I'm just picking a number here for people who want to take memorable shots.
I won't name, obviously, brands. I don't work in sales anymore. But most of the new SLRs coming in, the Olympus cameras, and sorry, naming brands, but the mirrorless cameras are quite small and quite easy to carry. You find out a lot of the newer generation cameras will fit into your pockets quite easily, even with one or two lenses. So it's easy to get a good camera in that price range.
And that's important because you're on the go and you know...
You don't want to be carrying a huge camera bag around with you, lots of stuff, and the more time you spend playing with buttons and setting things up, the more time you lose photographs. Okay,
so let's cut to the chase now, and we want to take a great scenery shot. So to get a bit more specific here, maybe we want to take a beautiful sunset or a shot of mountains, something really big. Have you got a couple of quick tips how we can frame that kind of shot?
Framing is important because otherwise it just becomes a flag. If you have a lovely view of mountains, land, fields and sky, if you're not careful, you'll have free bands of colour and you'll ignore it totally. You need to have something in the foreground at the front, possibly in the bottom left or right of it, like a tree, a rock, a castle. By the way, what works really well are people. We make the mistake on holiday. If we go on a holiday, we ignore our partners and our friends and don't photograph them.
Or ourselves, because, you know, they're saying, there were no shots of you, Dad. Oh, no, I was behind the camera.
That's it. And the thing is, if you put someone in the middle waving, it becomes a shot of them and the background. But if you have them just walking down the road on the left, it becomes gorgeous because it gives you scale, perspective, and the most important thing of all, dating. Yeah. Otherwise, you have no idea when it's taken.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And what about lighting? Are you one of those people who says that the late afternoon it gets very velvety, or have you got a particular...
Well, there's an old argument that what's called the golden hour or the golden time, early morning up to about 11 o'clock and early evening after about 4 o'clock is wonderful. Soft lighting. The middle of the day, especially if you're travelling for Europe or areas like that, is very, very harsh. So mornings are nicer, evenings are nicer. And if the sun's behind you, it does make it a bit easier, obviously, except for sunsets.
Yeah. Alwyn, back in the day, we were very judicious with our photography because we had either 12, 24 or something or other, or 36 shots on a roll. But now, of course, we can snap away to our heart's content, taking thousands of shots. What advice do you give to people? I know that last time I went away, I would download them onto my Mac or to my iPad, whatever, and just sort out the ones that were really good and sort of kept them aside and got rid of the others and then put the card back in. How do you manage so many photos these days?
I use a program, well, there's numerous programs on the market, but I tend to rate them in star rating, and for example, if I take 1,000 shots, I might keep 100 at the most.
Yeah.
I keep those, I print them, I still as a habit print them, which is people forget about now. The other thing I do, especially with holiday photographs, is a lot of companies now print books out for you, and I'll print the whole holiday in a book with notes and notations, and then file the book. Because there's nothing worse than somebody saying, "Where did you go?" Or, "Let me find my iPhone," and flicking through pages.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. The shot's here somewhere.
We all find that boring. And Alwyn, just conscious of time, photographing people, and for our membership, grandkids are the apple of their eye. A couple of tips on how to get the best people shots. Do you crop right in, or how do you approach such a
Faces
shot?
are good. When it comes to grandkids and grandchildren, the mistake we make is we point the camera at them and they'll probably do a very silly face. If you ask them just to look a fraction away and, put your hand to one side, ask them to look at your hand or look at the parents or somebody else, you find the child relaxes more, don't do silly faces, and then you get a nice shot. You can get quite in close. The other key thing is if you have a zoom on your camera, people look better when you zoom.
Yeah.
So stand back and zoom in. It looks an awful lot nicer.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you're not crowding their space either. Now,
right.
We're pretty excited that you are writing for us, and we know also that you've got a website and you've got a photo school.
That's right.
So John, I think, is going to share that.
If you want to go to ALWYNSPHOTO school, one word, .com.au. That's the website for Alwyn's school. And I guess we're going to put that link up on our website as well.
And as well a link to email Alwyn. So if people are in the Melbourne area, they can take a class. But Alwyn shares lots of tips on his website and through ours, so everybody can be an expert.
Oh, and thank you so much for giving up your time today on Mind Your Own Retirement.
My absolute pleasure.
And on Your Life Choices Mind Your Own Retirement podcast, it's time to head to the airport with Kaye. Are we on your nugget going to the airport now?
Yes, my nugget is what you should never wear to the airport, never.
You mean like to the airport or on a plane?
If you're travelling internationally, you must not go to the airport wearing this.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead.
Okay. So it came out of America, as everything does, but a young lady was pulled aside in the security queue.
Inappropriate.
Taken to a private room, a polite but thorough search, and she had something on her body that was linked to a bomb.
Oh,
which was not a bomb. It was glycerin, and it was in her hand lotion. Can you believe?
Right.
So apparently those in the know, and this young lady totally missed her flight because they were so thorough about detecting this item.
Okay, so you mean it was on her body or she had it in her luggage?
No, she'd put it on her hands. So
and
you
then
know
the
when
sniffer
they
dog
do
or the yes, the bomb detecting little swiper thing.
The thing went ear, and
Oh,
she
my
was
goodness.
told she'd set off the airport security sensors. So don't trust other soaps,
Oh dear.
right? Including airport soaps. You know, maybe you
What?
go.
Now, hang on, Kaye. You
No.
mean can't wash my hands at the airport now.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
All right.
But just maybe don't use the whole container, John.
All right. So be careful of
just
glycerin
just
soaps.
a little bit. Don't do what I do, which is go into duty free and try every item there,
Oh, no.
as in the hand
Perfumes and,
lotion. Well, it's the hand lotion.
Okay.
Yeah, because
You're a hand lotion junkie, are you?
I do like. I won't mention the brand, but I
Is
do.
it the French one?
Yes.
So do I.
L'Occitane.
Lavender. Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. I like the almond, but we're agreeing on the brand there. So do also leave extra time to get through security.
Always, yeah.
And if anybody in our membership has any other reason why they've been hauled outside to the security room, let us know, because our members are keen to get through and
Absolutely.
enjoy a pre-flight
and for a lot of our
experience.
members, it's very nerve-wracking getting there, and everybody about 2 days before they go, I shouldn't be going.
No.
I wish I wasn't going.
I can't.
And this, I can't possibly handle all this.
Yes.
I'm speaking for experience, folks, because I'm looking at Kaye Fallick right now, and she's doing all of that on her upcoming trip, and she's going, I've got so much work to do.
No.
Oh, dearie me. Okay, so the tips are there on Your Life Choices, yeah?
Yes, we've written a whole article about it. Thank you, Liv.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Liv.
Good on you, Liv. Folks, thank you very much indeed for joining us on this podcast of Mind Your Own Retirement, a podcast of YourLifeChoices.com.au. Absolutely simplifying retirement. All of what you've heard and so much more is right there on the website. And we'll see you next time for our next podcast of Mind Your Own Retirement.